Hello and welcome back to RC Projects. Now I know it's been a little while since the last video, but due to it being Christmas time and it being very busy at the end of the year, I haven't had much chance to film, but hopefully a weekly video is not too far off now. And yeah, it's going to start with this one. This one I've been meaning to do for a while. Now you may remember a couple of weeks ago I did, months now, I did a RC autopsy video with the seized bearings here. These all came out of the Tamiya lunchbox when I rebuilt it, and they're all seized to similar levels. One of them's fully seized, fully locked, and it doesn't move at all. A couple and the rest of them have a little bit of movement, but they're still locking up and seized. So the plan is to try and clean all the stuff out of them and get them running smooth again. And the way I'm going to do that is by four methods. We have some Swarfiga oil and grease remover. Now I've used this quite a lot in my previous RCs when I've been rebuilding them or just cleaning them. Cuts down oil and grease really well and cleans it all out and leaves a nice fresh finish for some fresh grease. So I'm going to be using that. We have some old Nitro Fuel. Now someone suggested in the comments of the RC autopsy video that I use diesel. Soak it in diesel overnight and then take it out and it should be ready to go. But I don't really want to go to a petrol station and pay the minimum of £5 on some diesel just to have it lying around. So I'm going to use some Nitro Fuel instead. It should do the same thing. It does suggest in the manual for my Bullet ST that you clean the air filter, which has got air filter oil already on it, just to soak up all the dirt and stuff. You should clean that with the Nitro Fuel. So obviously it's got some degreasing, de-oiling properties to it. So I'm going to try some Nitro Fuel. We also have the good old-fashioned WD-40, really good stuff. Cleans out oil and grease and also cleans up rust as well. And it does have after all the stuff's dissolved, evaporated, that's the word, it leaves behind a sort of a lubricant, an oil of itself, so we could give that a try. You can see on the front there actually it does list all the properties of it. Stops squeaks, drives out moisture, cleans and protects, loosens rusted parts, which is good, and frees sticky mechanisms. So I'm thinking that's going to work the best, that's my theory anyway. And the last one is Fairy Liquid. That's lime and lemongrass. So whether that makes a difference, I don't know. But yeah, I've also used that as well. Also has degreasing properties, and also is obviously cleans it as well because it cleans your dirty dishes. So the plan is to put a little bit of the solution of each of these four into this container. Obviously, I'm going to add a bit of water for that. That should be fine, neat, and that and that. So I'm going to use those three, neat, and that with a bit of water. I'm going to put a bit of solution in these containers, put the bearing in, and just leave it in there for half an hour. Let that all soak in, release anything it wants to. Then I'm going to take the bearing back out after half an hour, scrub it with a old toothbrush with some more of the solution, just to agitate any dirt that's in there, any grime. And then when I've scrubbed both sides, I'm going to put it back into a fresh going of solution. So some more Fairy Liquid and water, some fresh WD-40, fresh Nitro Fuel, fresh Swarfiga oil and grease remover. Put it back in there for half an hour, take it out, and then rinse it with water and dry it off. Let it dry fully, and then see if they're actually unseized. And that's going to be the video. So I hope it's going to be informative and helpful for you. Personally, I wouldn't bother saving these bearings because they're cheap enough. I can just throw them away, get a new set, and they're brand new bearings. But some people have been asking for me to do a bearing cleaning video, so here it is, and I hope you enjoy. So all the seals have been removed from all the bearings. The double seals on both sides, so I don't need to worry about that. So I'm just going to pour a little bit of this oil and grease remover into there, just enough to cover sort of one side, and it should sort of seep up and go into it. So that's the first one. We shall move along to the Nitro Fuel. Now this is old Nitro Fuel. Don't think it will make much difference, but I don't want to use new stuff really. So, a bit less viscous than the oil and grease remover. Obviously if you're going to be putting your hand in this, wear some gloves. Move along. Wear some latex gloves or something just to protect your hands, because I've had the oil and grease remover on my hands before without gloves and it does dry it out a lot. So So this is the WD-40 one. So there we go. So I'm probably just going to move it to the corner like that, so it's almost fully immersed in the solution. There we go. It's a good enough coating. And I'm going to fill this up with water. Not got any around me, so what I'll do, place that in there. I want it to lay down flat. Now just drizzle a little bit in, then go put some water in afterwards, off camera. So half an hour begins, and I'll check back with you then, and we'll see what's happened. So that's the current setup. We're only about a minute in, but I just thought I'd show you. Got a toothbrush, just holding it up one side, just so it actually sits in the pool of whatever solution's in there. So that's the degreaser, that's the Nitro Fuel, that's the WD-40, and that's just Fairy Liquid and water. 30 minutes have passed, and we're going to take a look. So this is Fairy Liquid. There's a little bit of stuff in there, there's a little bit of debris in there, which is good, sign that it's been cleaned. WD-40 has gone that colour. So it looks like it's got quite a lot of stuff out of there actually, which is nice to see. It's quite brown. There's a lot of sort of bits and pieces. Oh yeah, blimey, there's loads in there. If I can get any closer. Can you see all that? Look at all that stuff that's come out. That's really good to see, that is. Looking good for WD-40. We've got Nitro Fuel there. The actual metal's got a funny colour. And there's no debris that I can see. Give it a bit of a shake. No, not much debris in there, and it's pretty much the same colour. And the degreaser, give it a bit of a shake. Again, not much debris in there. So yeah. So now what I'm going to do, got my latex glove on. I'm simply going to take the bearing out, scrub it with toothbrush, put it back in. So. And just so there we go. Take the glove off. So that's the first round, and that's the first sort of thing. So move these back out. I'm keeping these in order so I know which ones are which. So now what I'm going to do is add a bit more solution just to top it up. A bit more in there. Now I'm not going by amounts because they're all different types of cleaning solutions, so I don't really want to start measuring stuff out. I'm just doing it by what I think. More Nitro Fuel, there we go. Bit more WD-40, just going to squirt it in there. There we go, that'll be enough. And oh, nearly squirted the WD-40 in the Fairy Liquid one there. So I'm going to put a bit more Fairy Liquid in there. Make that quite a neat concentration. Put a bit of water in it. There we go, that'll be enough. And what I did do is I did just swirl it around just to mix the Fairy Liquid and the water together. There we go. So I'm going to let that sit for another half an hour, and then that'll be the final sort of soak. Then we'll go rinse them off, dry them out, and see if they've actually freed up. So can't really see there, it's quite cloudy. You can see a little bit of debris there. Separate it out. No, there's not too much in there. Colours the bearing. Look quite clean. This battery's about to die. Not good. There's a little bit of debris in there, but the bearing's got a funny colour. This one, blimey, look at all the stuff that's come out of there. Let's move it around a bit. This is the WD-40. Previous one was the Nitro Fuel, so lots of debris in there. And this is the Fairy Liquid. So there's a few bits of stuff in there. Bearing Looks fairly clean. So now I'm going to do, empty out those liquids, give them a good going over with water. Is it going to focus? Probably not. But yeah, so I'm going to rinse them out with water, brush them with the brush again, just to get any other stuff out of there, and then we can see how they're going to spin. I'm not going to show you washing them with water, obviously, but yeah, check back with you in a minute, and hopefully this camera's going to focus next time. So I'm going to be a bit quicker about this because the battery's about to die on the camera. But yeah, so thoroughly rinsed them and dried them. Just rinsed them with water, gave them another quick scrubbing with the toothbrush, just to clear out any of the crap that's in there. So we're going to start with the fairy liquid and water. So yeah, that's still seized. If I try and move that around with a bit of force, it's still seized. Yep, still seized. So fairy liquid is a no. WD-40 is a yes. Really, really, really clear. Can't feel anything that's stopping the motion of the bearing there. It is quite notchy, but I imagine they're flat spots. But yeah, that bearing is unseized completely. Spins really freely. So WD-40's done well. Now the Nitro Fuel has also done really well. It's still got a few quite big lumps of stuff in there, but it does spin really freely. Again, really well. Not as good as the WD-40, but it's getting there. Probably another go over with some Nitro Fuel might actually solve that. And the final one, which is the Swarfiga oil and grease remover, is completely locked up. I can't even turn that. That's not happening. So, looks like, move those two bearings out of the way, looks like these two are the solution to seized bearings. WD-40 and Nitro Fuel. Now obviously you could spend more time cleaning these. You could go in there with the little fine nozzle and blast out all that stuff and really get a good clean on those. Same with that, you could keep coating that in Nitro Fuel, keep scrubbing it with a brush. But there is a point where it gets a bit ridiculous to spend that much time on such a small, inexpensive item. These bearings were really cheap. I think it was about £5 for a set, for a whole set for a Tamiya, so they work out about 10, 15, 20p each. So it's not, to me, it's not really worth spending this amount of time on a bearing where you could just go get a brand new one, chuck this away, put a fresh one in, because even though this is clean and it runs freely, it's not smooth. It's quite notchy and quite bumpy, and you could feel the flat spots on the ball bearings in there. Same with that one, you can feel it's running freely and quite smooth, but it's still quite notchy. So obviously that bearing is not as good as it was from new. So you can clean it to a point, but they're still going to have slightly less life than a brand new bearing. And there is quite a lot of play in this one. I don't know whether I'll be able to focus this, but you can see there's quite a lot of play in that bearing now, because obviously things have worn down with all the rust. I'm not sure if there's play in that one. See, there's no play in that one, but it's very difficult to get two bearings that have been in exactly the same situation with exactly the same amount of wear and damage to them. So yeah, WD-40 is probably what I'm going to recommend as the best cleaner for old bearings, for seized bearings. Nitro Fuel also very good, which I was quite surprised at. That was my pick for the least efficient way of cleaning bearings. But yeah, so WD-40, there's your answer. Use some of that. Just a quick extra little bit. If you have any methods of cleaning bearings, please leave them down in the comment section below. I've only used 4 examples here. I was given another suggestion of putting diesel in there, just soaking them in diesel overnight, and then that should clear them up. So obviously people have many different ways of cleaning bearings, so I think I'd always go for WD-40 simply because I know what it does and how it operates. But if you've got any other suggestions on how to clean bearings, please leave them down below in the comment section, and spread out some advice. Let other people know of the best ways you think of cleaning bearings. So thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you next time on RC Projects. Bye.